Okay, international trade. International trade is the exchange of goods and services between countries. Well, trading globally gives the consumers and countries the opportunity to be exposed to goods and services not available in their own countries or more expensive domestically. So, hindi naman natin pwedeng ipilit na magtanim ng mga mansanas dito sa bansa natin. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Hindi na tayo kakain ng mansanas, ng apple? Okay? Are we not going to eat apple anymore? So what shall we do if we want apples? Should we refrigerate our atmosphere here and change our soil? That would be expensive. Okay? So the importance of international trade was recognized early on by political economists like Adam Smith and David Ricardo, wherein they compare the cost of producing domestically of certain things, which can be instead delegated to outsiders, no? Foreign countries, to do that for us. We focus on what we are good at, they focus on what they are good at, so that we can maximize output for both sides. And then, kung gusto natin yung produkto nila, makipagkalakalan tayo. International trade. The exchange of goods and services between countries. Does anyone know what counter trading is? Counter trading is blank. I'll give you 1 minute. Okay. So again, international trade gives consumers and countries the opportunity to be exposed to goods and services not available in their own countries or expensive domestically. Now, let's go to the definition of terms. Does anyone know what counter trading is? Enter your answers. Enter your answers, everyone. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng counter trading? Okay, very good. Counter trading is very similar to what we traditionally call barter. When traders between two countries do not like the currency of each other, they may decide to do ut des, no? Fascia ut fascias, a form of trade where goods and services are exchanged for goods and services instead of cash. Very good. The answer is boy. We used to call this barter decades ago, centuries ago, but now we refer to this as counter trading. Goods and services are traded literally for goods and services. Now, this is a very traditional problem in import and export transactions. When you import, you buy from abroad. When you export, you sell to abroad. A US based infant clothing company, Tiny Tot, is interested in importing fabric, meaning bibili siya, from China. So the exporter is from China, the importer is Tiny Tot from the US. Which of the following should Tiny Tot arrange first for the Chinese company to ship the merchandise? I'll give you 30 seconds for this one. Okay, enter your answers, please. Enter your answers, please. Which of the following should Tiny Tot arrange first for the Chinese company to ship the merchandise? Enter now. Okay. So the best answer here is letter A, letter of credit. Okay, allow me to explain. We have here Tiny Tot from the US who is contemplating on importing fabric from China. The Chinese exporter will then have to send the products, the fabric to importer, Tiny Tot, and importer should pay the exporter. Now the question is, sino yung mauuna? Okay? Who should do the responsibility first? Should payment come first or should the delivery come first? Sino? Okay, yun yung problema. Tiny Tot will be concerned that the laws of China are different from the laws of the US. Kung kailangan niyang habulin si exporter, baka mahihirapan siya, no? When the importer would like to chase the exporter in the event that payment was made first, tinakbuhan sila, no? The exporter didn't make good of the promise. Okay, that would be a problem. Likewise, for the exporter, the same issue. Kung uunahin naman yung pagpapadala. Okay? So what the importer can do is prior to the shipment of the goods and payment, the importer can talk to their bank, no? The importer can talk to its bank and request, okay, of course, this is not free, no? And then ask the bank to prepare a letter of credit. In this letter of credit, the importer will talk to its bank to forward the money to the bank of the exporter to forward the money to the exporter only in the event that the conditions of the delivery were made. This bank guarantees that the exporter will be paid upon the delivery. So the exporter will not have to worry that tatakbuhan siya ng importer. No? The exporter will do not have to be worried about the payment. So what the importer can do is to arrange a letter of credit with his local bank and then transmit it to the bank of the exporter, promising the exporter that they will be compensated after delivery. So in this case, the importer is not concerned that the payment will be made to the exporter without delivery, and the exporter will not be concerned that no payment will be made. Eh sir, bakit hindi COD na lang? Bakit hindi cash on delivery na lang? Yung problema sa cash on delivery, si exporter, yung seller, gumagastos yan ng delivery fee. Paano kapag dumating kay importer, tapos ayaw tanggapin ni importer? No? Ibabalik yun ni exporter sa kanya, eh di babayaran niya yung delivery. So a more efficient way is the preparation of a letter of credit. I have a separate video on letter of credit. Okay, I'm going to show it to you next time. But for now, let's stick with the basics. Okay, 30 seconds for this question. Go. Okay, which of the following financial tools involve the exporter sending goods to the importer before the good has been sold to a customer? You learn this alongside basic accounting. Answer, everyone enter your answers. Everyone enter your answers. Okay, anong tawag dito? Anong tawag dito? Okay, this is consignment. So the importer here is not literally the buyer. The importer is only an agent of the exporter. The exporter is sending goods to an importer, but there's no sale yet. The sale will take place when the importer was able to find the final buyer, which is the customer. We call this letter C, consignment. Okay, ang tawag dyan ay consignment. Next. What about forfeiting? How do you define forfeiting? Okay. What is forfeiting? Everyone, enter your answers, please. Enter your answers, please. What is forfeiting? Enter your answers, please. Everyone, what is forfeiting? Okay, bago ata to sa inyo. Well, to give you a comparison, think about factoring. Think about factoring, except that we're talking here about large equipment, no? Large equipment. And then think about long-term loans, no? Long-term yung receivable. Okay? So think of forfeiting as something similar to factoring, where the receivables are being sold to a third party. But the difference is that this is for the long term. Kung merong receivable na 2 years installment, no? 2 years installment, ibebenta niya sa third party para wala na siyang problema sa collection. Okay? Okay, usually yung forfeiting ginagamit 'to sa international transactions. Yung factoring para lang 'yan sa local transactions 'to. Okay, they are very similar but they are different, ha. Si forfeiting madalas sa mga binibiling equipment. So what is forfeiting? The bank will buy the trade receivable from the seller or the exporter. A purchase of a trade debt, which is a receivable, by a bank from an exporter. Actually, the correct answer is letter boy. Okay ha? May bago kayong natutunang term, forfeiting. Think of it as the long-term version of factoring. Instead of the usual receivables, these are long-term receivables involving the purchase of equipment. Okay? So the bank can buy the receivable from the exporter. We call that forfeiting. Okay? So are there any questions on international trade before we proceed? Meron ba kayong mga tanong diyan? Wala? Okay, tuloy tayo. So, we know that exchange rates fluctuate, no? The value of one's currency goes up and down. The question is, what are the causes of the change, no? The determinants of the change in exchange rate. I am going to enumerate three of them. Inflation, real interest rates, national income growth. I will give you a few seconds to read each item. Okay? So, whenever exchange rates change, the question is why? Of course, there are factors like supply and demand which will come into play. But the question is, why did the supply increase? Why did the supply decrease? Why did the demand increase? Why did the demand decrease? Okay, I'm going to enumerate three determinants of exchange rate, one of them being inflation. What is the effect of increased inflation? An increase in the inflation rate will lower the purchasing power of our local currency. So, say for example, in our country, the inflation rate is higher compared to those outside. Our purchasing power will dampen. Ibig sabihin nun, yung peso, konti na lang yung nabibili. If we are Americans, the US dollar is going to buy less and less goods. As such, the local currency decreases in value compared to those currencies which are not experiencing inflation. Isipin nyo ganito, kapag nagmamahal yung mga bilihin, mas konti nabibili ng ating pera. So, high inflation rate, the lower the value of our money is, even with respect to other currencies, provided that their inflation situation there is not as worse as ours. Again, an increase in the inflation rate will ultimately depreciate the value of our currency. That's the first determinant, inflation. Second is the level of real interest rates. The level of real interest rates. Increase in the real interest rate attracts foreign investors to invest locally in our bonds. So kapag yung real interest rates ay tumataas, okay, yung mga foreigners, no, foreign investors, mga AFAM, no, mga AFAM, bibili ng bonds natin. They will be attracted to our bonds which are offering high real interest rates. In the process, they will have to buy using our currency. It causes an increase in the demand of local currency. As such, the local currency increases in value. There will be appreciation in our local currency. Finally, we have national income growth. So this is counterintuitive, no? Counterintuitive meaning parang taliwas sa common sense. An increase in the national income growth will make us import more than export. If our incomes are high, we can buy goods and services more than we are willing to produce. Nako, yung mayaman na ako, no? I'm becoming richer, no? I'm becoming higher in income every year. Instead of working more, I would prefer to buy more. Tama ba? Okay. So whenever the consumers in a particular economy are increasing, have their incomes increase, they import more than they export. In the process of importing, they will have to use foreign currency, and therefore this will increase the demand for foreign currency. This will have the effect of neglecting the local currency. So mas mataas yung demand ng foreign currency, mas mababa sa local currency, and therefore the local currency decreases in value. So the higher our income goes, the lower the currency's value becomes. No? It depreciates in value. In summary, high inflation causes depreciation in the local currency's value. High real interest rates in the local economy will cause an increase as well in the value of our currency, appreciation in the currency's value. And ironically, when the national income growth is high, meaning to say our income is growing, we tend to import more. So the tendency is that our local currency would decrease in value. I hope that explanation is clear. Okay? Sige. Next question. I'll give you 1 minute. Okay, enter your answers, everyone. Kaya na ba? Sige. Enter your answers, everyone. Assuming exchange rates are allowed to fluctuate freely sa floating system, which one of the following factors would likely cause a nation's currency to appreciate on the foreign exchange market? Answer, everyone. Answer, everyone, please. Everyone, please. Okay, as I've told you, if our national income growth is high, we import more. As a result, nadi-decrease yung value ng currency natin. When imports are stimulated, we buy more than produce more. So this will cause a demand for foreign currency at the expense of our very own. Letter A is the opposite of what we want to happen in this problem. For the nation's currency to appreciate, it would be beneficial when the rate of income growth is lower. A slower rate of income growth than in other countries will make our imports lower and therefore our exports relatively higher. The correct answer is letter boy. C and dog, pinapagulo lang yung isip nyo. No? Naguguluhan lang kayo sa C and dog. They mean the same thing. Foreign real interest rates are higher. Domestic real interest rates are lower. Malamang. If foreign real interest rates are higher, yung domestic real interest rates are lower. So C and dog, they are just the same. Diba? And as I've told you, real interest rates in our home country are directly proportional to the foreign current the local currency's value. High real interest rates locally will attract investors to invest in bonds, causing our currencies to appreciate. Okay? So the correct answer is letter boy. Okay? Do you need more time? Ito, second na to ha. I'll give you another 1 minute for this one. You? Everyone, please answer. Due to mismanagement of its domestic economic policies, country A is experiencing a drastic increase in inflation when you compare it to the neighbor country B, which happens to be its major trading partner. How will the increased inflation in country A affect the exchange rate between the two countries? Enter your answers, everyone. Please enter your answers, everyone. Mataas yung inflation kay country A. What will be the effect? Everyone. Everyone, please answer. So as I have told you, high inflation would lead to a depreciation of the local currency. In this scenario, country A is experiencing that high inflation. Ano mangyayari sa value ng currency niya? Okay, very good. The correct answer is boy. Country A's currency will depreciate against country B's currency. Malinaw? Okay, very good. Okay, many of you were able to answer. The correct answer is letter boy. Okay? Okay. Think very well before you answer. 30 seconds. Okay. If the central banks of a country raises interest rates sharply, the country's currency will most likely blank. Enter your answers, please. Enter your answers, please. Okay, anong sabi ko? When interest rates go up, foreign investors will be flocking to the country. Okay? They will be attracted to these high interest rates. They will invest in the bonds. In the process, they need our currency to purchase our bonds. The correct answer is letter dog. The currency's value in this country will increase in will increase, no? It increases in relative value. The correct answer is letter dog. Correct answer is letter dog. Okay? Sige. One more for this topic. One more. 1 minute. Okay. Everyone, please answer. Country R's currency would tend to depreciate relative to country T's currency when blank. When blank. Go. Enter now. Please enter your answers. Country R's currency would tend to depreciate relative to country T's currency when blank. Everyone, please enter. So, diniscuss ko kanina, kapag si country R, mataas yung nagiging national income niya. The national income is growing faster than the rest of the world. Country R will have a tendency to import more and use foreign currency. The demand for the foreign currency will be at the expense of the local currency. The correct answer is letter dog. Okay? Country R's currency would tend to depreciate relative to country T's currency when country R has real interest rates that are lower than real interest rates in country T. Okay? So as I've discussed to you, letter A is wrong. Kapag mataas yung kanyang growth in income, lalo siyang magkakaroon ng country T, no? Kapag si country T ang mas malakas, so si country R yung mas mahina, lalong mag-appreciate yung kanyang currency. So letter A is wrong. Okay? Kapag sinabing more restrictive monetary policy, lower supply. If country R's currency would have lower supply, higher yung magiging value. So no. And letter C, yung inflation, kapag mataas yan, bumabagsak. So kung mababa yung inflation, ang mangyayari ay tataas yung value niya. Very good. The answer is dog. If country R has real interest rates that are lower than that of country T, then the tendency is that its currency will decrease in value. Letter dog. Very good, everyone. A while ago, we were talking about the causes of the change in the exchange rate. Causes of the change of the exchange rate. No? We're talking about the causes. This time, we are going to talk about the effect of the changing currency value. Kanina, pinag-uusapan natin kung ano yung dahilan kung bakit tumaas o bumababa yung currency value ng isang bansa. Ngayon, pag-uusapan natin yung epekto. Okay? What will happen if the local currency appreciates? If the local currency appreciates, our goods and services in our country appear to be more pricey or expensive compared to the rest of the world. It makes the price of domestic goods expensive abroad. So the foreigners who would like to buy our goods will find it more difficult because our currency has appreciated. The price of domestic goods will be more expensive abroad. It therefore harms the exporter. Mahihirapan tayong makabenta. On the other hand, it will make foreign goods cheaper when we will purchase them at home. Dito sa bansa natin, bibilhin natin yung foreign goods. It will be easier for us because our currency has appreciated in value. Imagine what you can buy if the peso appreciated to 1 peso is $1. Okay, in your dreams, no? 1 peso naging $1. Ganun yung appreciation. Yung pera mo, madaming mabibili, no? It will make the price of foreign goods cheaper when you buy them from home. It therefore helps the importers. Okay? Of course, the effect will be opposite when our currency depreciates. When our currency depreciates, the domestic goods are cheaper. No? The price of the domestic goods will appear cheaper abroad. It will help our exporters. And then, the foreign goods will appear expensive. Tayo yung mahihirapan bumili. It harms importers. Okay? Again, one more time. Appreciation of the currency makes the price of domestic goods expensive. Okay? So, foreigners will find it harder to buy from us. Exporters will be harmed. However, the importers will be helped because the price of foreign goods will appear cheaper. From our point of view, we can easily buy them. It helps importers. Opposite effect for depreciation. The domestic goods prices would appear cheaper abroad. So the exporters will be helped, no? Madaling makabenta yung exporter. But us, when we would like to buy foreign goods, they are expensive. It will harm the importers. Okay? Sige. 2 minutes. What is the effect on prices of US imports and exports when the dollar depreciates? 2 minutes. Okay. A lot of the questions out there are are printed from the point of view of an American. Masanay na kayo ha? From the point of view of an American. What is the effect on prices of US American no? Imports and exports when the dollar depreciates? So when the currency depreciates when the country's currency depreciates, what will happen to its imports and exports? Enter your answers, please. Enter your answers, please. Enter now. Hindi nyo lang man screenshot to. In case of appreciation, ito mangyayari. In case of depreciation, ito mangyayari. Everyone, please enter. Okay. If the US dollar depreciates, okay, the prices of the goods to be imported will be expensive. It will increase. And therefore, we will find it difficult to buy. No, the volume will be lower. But exports, the exporters will be helped, no? Because the dollar depreciates, from the foreigner's point of view, the US exports are cheaper. Export prices will decrease, so dadami yung exports in volume. Okay? So very good. The correct answer is letter C. Import prices expensive, export prices will be cheaper. Letter C. Okay. Now we are talking here about two competitors. We have the foreign competitor and then the US company. Of course, companies would love to sell. No? Companies would love to sell. So they are all exporters. So may isang US exporter tsaka foreign exporter. Sige nga, 2 minutes. So reminder, dalawang seller yan, no? Pag sinabing company, they intend to sell. One company is based in the US, meron siyang foreign competitor. The question is, what is the effect when a foreign competitor's currency becomes weaker compared to the US dollar? I'll give you a few seconds more. You? Everyone, please answer. Everyone, please answer. So we have two exporters here. Drawingan natin. Ito si US exporter. Ito naman si foreign exporter. Okay. Kaninong currency yung bumagsak? the foreign competitor's currency becomes weaker. So the currency of the US company, the US dollar, went up. Okay? Answer? Actually, this would be favorable to the foreigner. Very good, may tumama. The answer is A. No? The foreign company will have an advantage in the US market. Why? It will appear that the prices of the foreign company, the goods and services of the foreign company, will be cheaper and therefore it is more accessible to the rest of the world. No? More affordable rather for the rest of the world. So, assuming that there is no significant difference between the US and the foreigners' quality and non-financial factors are neglected, the customers would go to the foreign company because their currency is weak. Kapag weak yung currency, they can afford it at a lower price. Okay? Okay, very good. The correct answer is indeed letter A. Okay? Sige. So I'm going to conclude my lecture here. The next meeting, we will proceed to another topic.